Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by MarketFi. I'm your co-host, Joel Alconin, along with Brianna Valesky, and we are going to speak with Nav Athwal. He's the founder and CEO of RealtyShares. Nav, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Joel, great to be talking to you. I'm doing great, and Brianna, hello as well.
All right, to get things started, could you just give us a little bit of your education and your work background?
Sure. I started my career as a real estate broker, brokering residential and commercial transactions in California. Real estate's sort of been a part of my life for a while, and then I transitioned into being a real estate attorney in San Francisco, where I represented large REITs and private funds on acquisitions in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and throughout the country. Both in terms of office projects, multifamily projects, but also solar projects in Southern California. And that's really, these experiences will really transition me into founding RealtyShares as a way to provide investors access to these same properties that I was working on, but that they couldn't access. And before going and transitioning into an attorney, I went to law school at UC Berkeley, and before that, I graduated as an electrical engineer from UC Davis.
Nav, so tell us about RealtyShares.
Sure. RealtyShares is essentially an e-trade for real estate. We're an online real estate investment marketplace where individual investors can pool money and purchase shares in curated real estate properties for as little as $5,000 a share. And these investments are both in commercial and residential real estate properties. So they include things like single-family homes, apartment buildings, retail centers, office buildings, and we've been able to provide access and fund deals in 17 states. So what we're really doing is bringing real estate investing into the digital age, the same way platforms like eTrade and Scottrade brought stock investing into the digital age.
Why did you decide to start RealtyShares?
Yeah, so like I said, it was these experiences from being a real estate broker, being a real estate attorney. On the one hand, I had colleagues at my law firm asking, "How are you investing in real estate? What do I need to do? I have $20,000 and I want to put it into a real estate asset. Where do I get started?" At the same time, I was working on my own real estate projects, looking to raise capital, and it found it to be a very inefficient process. So it hit me one day, why not bridge this gap between those looking for capital that have great projects and those looking to put that capital to work but not wanting to put 100 or 200,000 at a time. And so by providing a platform to connect these two individuals and using technology to make the entire process more efficient, we're able to provide those same investors that want access to real estate a way to invest in a streamlined way and with only $5,000 to start, and those looking for capital with great projects access to efficient sources of capital. So it was really born out of my own pain points as a real estate investor and a real estate developer, and RealtyShares is hence been filling that gap that existed.
Is it free to sign up?
It is free to sign up. To create an account on RealtyShares and to browse active investments is 100% free.
Okay, do you do this by regions? I mean, do you have particular regions that you cover, or is it pretty much throughout the United States?
So we have a team of underwriters. We use a lot of data to determine where we want to be doing deals, but we are open to opportunities nationwide. As I mentioned, we've done deals in 17 states, but we've had concentrations in specific markets. We've done a lot of deals in Los Angeles, for example. We've done deals in Oakland. We've done deals in Phoenix. Texas has been a great market for us. We've done deals in New Jersey. So we have concentrations, but we've also done deals in Vegas. But we are using data to determine where we want to be doing deals, where our investors can get the yields that they want, and where we want to also take a longer outlook on the real estate market and determine where our value is going to be in a year or 2 years. So that definitely helps inform where we'll fund deals, but we definitely don't have any specific regions that we just say we're not going to fund. Maybe Detroit, but that's pretty much it.
You said you won't do a deal in Detroit?
We won't do deals in Detroit today, and we haven't. We've had quite a bit of interest, and it's really because investor psychology for Detroit. We want to provide opportunities that we think will fund and investors have an appetite for. I personally have nothing against Detroit, but I just think right now there's a certain negative connotation towards Detroit and real estate values in Detroit that's prevented us from doing any deals there just yet. Doesn't mean we won't in the future. Just today, we're not doing deals in Detroit. But anywhere else, we'll consider deals.
When's the last time you've been to Detroit?
I've never been to Detroit.
Okay, no.
I've been to Michigan, but never been to Detroit.
I just, because you mentioned that is the only, I'm probably being a little bit defensive here because that's our hometown and where Benzinga is going to be moving their world headquarters. But you should get down there and take a look. There's a lot going down there in the real estate market. You got some big retailers coming in, and you perhaps might want to put that on your radar. But let's just walk us through a deal here, okay? Let's say I'm an investor. Let's say I have $10,000 that I want to put into the real estate market. Just walk us through what I would do on your site and how this would all transpire.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Joel, Detroit's great, and I will definitely get down there sometime soon.
I'm not trying to beat you up.
So the process is simple. You create a free account, as Brianna asked. It's completely free to sign up. Once you sign up, you have access to a variety of investment opportunities. Typically, at any given time, you'll see 7 or 8 active opportunities, and we're working to obviously grow that amount over time, but we're still a relatively new company. You'll see residential opportunities, you'll see commercial opportunities, and you can browse and filter those opportunities by hold period, asset type, location, projected yield. And if you like an opportunity you see, you can get additional information directly from the website. You can get financials, property-level documents, property-level information on the manager that's looking to raise the capital for the deal. So, we provide all of that information in a single deal page that you have access to. After reviewing that information, if you want to invest, and the process is completely streamlined and electronic, you would enter in your information, you would sign documents electronically, and you would transfer your funds electronically as well. And once you do that and you're invested, you have access to a dashboard where you can access the investments you've made, the returns you've earned, the tax documents, the legal documents. So we've really strive to make this a very streamlined experience that can be completely done through your laptop, tablet, and from the convenience of your living room or your office. So it really fits within the passive nature of what we're trying to do here, and really digitizes this once very cumbersome process of investing and accessing real estate.
We got a question coming out of the chat here. Can an investor invest in a specific property, or is it a large group of properties?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We get that question a lot. What is the difference between RealtyShares and a real estate investment trust, which is essentially what this listener described as investing in a pool of properties or investing in a company that will invest in a pool of properties. At RealtyShares, you're actually choosing the exact zip code, street address, property location. So you choose the exact property you want your capital to go into. Sometimes we'll do pools of assets, but all those assets will be pre-identified. So it really creates a much more transparency and gives investors a level of control that hasn't been possible with the REIT market. And so that's one of the bigger differences between what we're doing at RealtyShares and what REITs have been able to do historically.
Nav, so real estate is a large asset class, but sometimes it seems like investors have trouble accessing and investing in it. Why do you think that is?
Real estate's a very fragmented market. So you have the REIT market, the public REIT market. That's obviously investors can access that just like they could any stock, because REITs are essentially stocks. But you don't have the same exposure to real estate as you would if you were doing it directly. And then you have the private real estate market, which is really where capital is really raised through institutional investors like pension funds and endowments. So individuals really don't have that same access point. And then you have the small to mid-cap assets, which range in size from maybe $1 million to $20 million, too small for institutional investors. And that's where capital is most efficient. Most of those sponsors would love to go out there and raise capital from investors and give these investors access. They just don't know where to start. They don't have a black book they can call and get 20 investors on the phone. So that's really inefficient. And at the same time, investors would like access to those asset classes. So It's not that investors wouldn't have access if there was a better way. There just hasn't been a better way, and that's what we're trying to do through RealtyShares, is bridge that gap and provide that access point that hasn't existed because of the fragmented nature of the real estate market.
Do you guys accept payments in Bitcoin? And if you do, what made you decide to make that transition?
Yeah, so great question, Joel. You've done your research a little bit. So yeah, we do actually accept investments in Bitcoin. We've had quite a bit of Bitcoin transactions already come through RealtyShares. So the reason we did it is really because, one, I think Bitcoin is a very interesting technology. It's a very interesting currency. So just personal interest, but also because we actually had a few investors that at the time we were accepting investors from overseas. We're not today. We will again in the future, but just we're not doing it today because of various regulatory rules that we're still sort of figuring out. But in these foreign investors had to pay a tremendous amount in fees to get money from let's say England over to the U.S. or from Japan over to the U.S. And so there has to be a better way to create more efficiency. We're supposed to be all about efficiency. We have to make this money transfer efficient as well. And at the time we said, okay, Bitcoin could be perfect because it charges no currency exchange fees or no transfer fees, and it would allow them to invest in real estate through RealtyShares without those currency exchange fees. So it really was a way to solve the pain point for a lot of our foreign investors. Some of our domestic investors have used it as well. So it's actually been a great tool for our investor base, and we've seen quite a bit of transactions in it.
How has the Jobs Act helped your business?
So that's a great question. The Jobs Act actually hasn't helped our business in any way yet, and I'll explain that because it needs to be peeled a little further. So because of the way securities laws work today, our platform today is limited to accredited investors. Accredited investors are defined as an individual who makes at least $200,000 or more in income, or has a net worth of $1 million or more, or a joint income of $300,000 or more. So, and that's simply a legal requirement, not because we want to restrict our platform to only those investors, but because that's how the Securities Act in 1933 operates. That act's been active since the Great Depression, and it makes it really difficult to sell anything to non-accredited investors. Now, what the Jobs Act would do is allow non-accredited investors to get involved in real estate transactions through an exemption from the 1933 Act. That the Jobs Act, Title III rules still have not been enacted by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and until those rules come down from the SEC, that is not an operable provision. And so we're waiting for the Jobs Act to finally go into effect. Once it goes into effect, and we can actually open RealtyShares to a wider class of individuals, retail investors will definitely looking to do that. But right now, it just hasn't been possible given that the SEC hasn't passed those rules that everyone's patiently waiting for.
Okay, just before we let you go, I mean, there's a lot of REITs that trade out on the open market. Obviously, you keep a close eye on the real estate market, and these are related investments. Have a nice yield in some of these properties or some of these REITs that trade. Is it something that you participate in, or when you're looking for yield, or is this a little bit out of your wheelhouse?
No, I definitely I look at the gamut of possible investment opportunities out there, and so I definitely looked at REITs, and REIT dividend yields right now are a little too low for me. If you look at the overall REIT yields, and I think that's one of the things, the selling points of RealtyShares is, we're offering investors yield. Investors are chasing yield; they're getting pittance in their money market accounts. They're not getting a ton of yield from the treasuries or REITs, and so we're providing yields ranging from 8 to 11% overall returns that are higher, sometimes as high as 15 or 16%. And so I think what's really important for any investor, including myself and including anyone, is diversification. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to put all your money in the real estate, all your money in the stocks. It's important to diversify, and and as an investor, I look at yields, I look at what's happening with the stock market, the bond market, and yields have been so low across all those different options that I think direct real estate has really offered the best yields over the last few years. And so, I've definitely kept an eye on all those things, though.
Okay, Nav Athwal, founder and CEO of RealtyShares, joining us here on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you MarketFi. Nav, thanks a lot. Great information on your company, and hope to have you on again soon.
Thanks, Joel and Brianna. I appreciate it. Had a great time.